everybody. Welcome into the Hop. I am Steven, here with my boy Gabe, as always.
Oh, hi there.
We're here for another round, and folks, let me tell you something. Sometimes things just fall into your lap.
That's true.
And that's what hath occurred this week. We're drinking New England Brewing Company because it came up.
It came up in the form of a virtual beer tasting in partnership with Sacred Heart University, what they are calling a Brew with Shoe.
Brew with Shoe.
Brew with Shoe.
So it's a little bit of a Homer episode. We're from Connecticut. They're up the street from us.
Currently freezing in New England, so it makes sense.
Yep. And we've been fans of NEBCO for a long time. Had NEBCO in the distant plans, but this presented itself, and so
totally
that it got itself onto our schedule, which is great, and for a great cause. So we're going to get into all that, why we were doing this, and we were really excited to participate in this, and I think we're really excited to be supporting it, shouting it out on this show, doing our part, and so
absolutely got to be part of the tasting. Got to taste 4 awesome beers that we're bringing back for today. All very different. Some you've heard of, some you probably haven't, but very excited for it. This is going to be a fun one.
So if you're not watching on YouTube, this might be a good one to do so. Take a look at these beers with us. We are on YouTube, available as a video podcast. Once you found us, you can subscribe to us. You can click that bell and get notified whenever we post an episode, which happens every Thursday. Also, if we decide to go live at any point, which now that we're a video show is a possibility. I won't say it's a plan, but it's a possibility.
It'll happen.
We're on Apple, Spotify, Google Podcasts, anywhere you get your podcasts. And once you found us on there, subscribe. Also, rate and review on Apple Podcasts. That is really helpful to us. It helps the show, helps us make the show better for you, and it means the world. So if you have 3 seconds to go ahead and click those 5 stars, even better if you just type out some thoughts you have, positive or negative. We prefer the positive, but that's just us. And if you're interested in engaging with the show, you can find us on the social media. We are on Instagram and Twitter. We are at the HO Podcast. We are on Facebook, because who isn't? And you can reach us by email. We are thehopod@gmail.com. thehopod@gmail.com.
Let us know what breweries we should hit up next. Let us know what breweries we should repeat. Let us know if there are any other virtual tastings. We really enjoyed doing this. This was, I think, the first one that I've ever done. A tasting is always better in person, but due to what's going on, we can take what we can get, and it was live, and there were 120 people with us, so it was a lot of fun to do. So let us know. We're here for you guys.
It was a week. There was news. Let's talk about it.
Beer news.
Kicking off, this is kind of a big deal. Stella Artois is moving production to the U.S. More specifically, Anheuser-Busch is moving production of Stella Artois to the United States. Anheuser-Busch claims this move is due in part to a number of strikes that have taken place at their plant in Belgium, their Jupile plant. Apparently, in the past 4 years, the plant has been shut down for, in total, a month in that time. So apparently there's a lot of strikes going on. But Anheuser-Busch, historically not the most union-friendly.
Ruh-roh.
So who knows? It's also about sustainability, about producing closer to the consumer. A majority of Stella Artois is consumed in the United States, so Anheuser-Busch, that's part of it for them. Bottling is going to start at the St. Louis facility, Anheuser-Busch facility, with several other facilities joining in later on. That would be Los Angeles, Newark, and Jacksonville, Florida. That's Newark, not New York.
Damn it.
So obviously this move is going to cost jobs in Brussels. It's going to add jobs in the United States. But technically, and probably more importantly, if you're a Stella drinker, it is going to remove Stella's status as an imported beer. So it's anyone's guess whether liquor stores are going to recognize that and move it out of the imported section or not.
Right.
But you should know where your beer comes from. So,
I enjoy a nice Stella from time to time.
Yes, yeah.
It's a light sipper. It works. It does its job. There are better things, but they have their own glasses, so they're on a level of something.
Yeah.
Moving right along. We have been talking a lot about beer clubs and beer organizations within breweries, and one of our faves, Firestone Walker, now has a beer club.
Yay!
We're very excited about this. Apparently you have to be a California resident, which kind of sucks for us, but
doesn't suck for me.
Doesn't suck for you very soon. It's brand new. It's the debut. It's called the Brewmasters Reserve, the beer club dedicated to the best of the best from brewmaster Matt Bryndelson and his team, which is really cool. Membership is open to the first 1,000 registrants. It's open now on their website, and as I mentioned, only for residents of California. Steven, get on it. A 2021 membership in the Reserve costs $5.99. That's not $5.99.
That's a $500. That's close to
that's
$6.
a $500. That's $600. But it includes 8 curated collections spanning 27 individual small batch beers, including 14 member-only exclusives. Members also will receive curated glassware, discounts, virtual tasting experiences, merch, and more. Firestone Walker, I'm going to be bold and say it will be on this show soon. Absolutely.
Firestone Walker, I need you guys to understand, Firestone Walker is it's the holy grail for us. Like, that's the brewery I want on the hop more than any other brewery. We're just waiting until we're both in the state of California.
Yeah, we want to do it justice.
We want to do it together, and we want to do it there, because Firestone Walker is the kind of brewery, if you haven't been there, if you haven't tried their beers, you can get a lot of great Firestone Walker beers all over the country. They ship, and I'm not just talking about their traditionals. I'm talking about like their anniversary ale. They have a lot of nice bottled stuff. But if you want really what's going on, get it there. You got to get it at the
when Scott and I came to visit you for the week, we went there. And
it's the first place we went.
We had a bite to eat, and we had flights, and we stumbled out of there.
That was a good time. That place so much.
So look out for that.
And finally, in the news and notes, there's a bill in Congress proposing the legalization of shipping alcohol through the USPS. Congress is no fun to talk about. Fuck Congress, but this would be really cool, because you'd be able to ship alcohol through the U.S. Federal Postal System. It's a bill that was introduced by Representative Jackie Spire, who's a Democrat out of California, in 2019. The bill aims to address the current financial needs of the U.S. Postal Service. According to this legislation, the Postal Service would be permitted to mail alcoholic beverages in accordance with the delivery requirements otherwise applicable to a private courier. So basically, this would allow USPS to compete with FedEx, UPS, those other private couriers, which they can ship alcohol.
Right.
And so this debate has been going on for years. I mean, decade, 2012,
right.
If you dig into the research, this has gone on. People have been debating this for years. Opponents of the bill argue that it's unsafe and that the measure would allow easier access to alcohol for underage consumers. But I don't know.
Fair argument, but I mean, it's like any other delivery. Guy shows up, checks ID, gets a signature. You got to sign for it. There you go.
Yeah.
As long as they're safe about it, I think it's a great idea. And, especially now during these trying times, I mean, ordering is such a thing, not just with alcohol, but with everything. Yeah. So, I mean, it would help sell.
Yeah, it would help us. It would help us be able to ship beer to each other.
It would help us. Are you kidding me?
It would help the hop. So I think that all these representatives should vote for it, because they obviously listen.
Being in New York and Connecticut is one thing, but when we're in New York and California, I mean, it's tough. So it'll make our lives easier.
Yeah. So I would love to see this pass myself.
Yes.
Not to get political, but who knows?
Yay. That's my vote.
Yay!
Also, yes.
All right. You ready for a little
you
toast
have
to
a
get
toast.
into some NEBCO? Yeah.
Uh-oh.
All right. So here's the deal.
Oh, we're going new. All right.
Well, I didn't prove this.
I think it's great.
Listen.
Oh, this is like some sexy ass music. Okay, now it's weird.
Listen, it's Valentine's Day.
Oh my God.
And you know what I love about the hop? We've never acknowledged Valentine's Day.
We never, we didn't do it last year.
That's very on brand for us. Yeah. But this is a little Valentine's Day toast. And it's my Valentine to beer. So here we go. How do I love thee? beer. Let me count the ways. I love thee, beer, to the depth and breadth and height my soul can reach when feeling out of sight for the ends of being an ideal grace. Stop moving like that. I love thee, beer, to the level of every day's most quiet need by sun and candlelight. Beer, I love thee freely as men strive for right. Beer, I love thee purely as they turn from praise. Beer, I love thee with the passion put to use in my old griefs and with my childhood's faith. I love thee, beer, with a love I seem to lose with my lost saints. Now say it with me. I love thee, beer, with the breath, smiles, tears of all my life, and, if God choose, sweet, sweet beer, I shall but love thee better after death. And that is Sonnet 43 by Elizabeth Barrett Browning. I bastardized it a little bit.
Happy birthday, Cupid. I would love to see that like on a poster like behind you.
I wish we had like some sexy like red lighting in here that could have just been on me.
I mean, you have.
Yeah,
I'm not going to say her name out loud because she'll turn the lights off. But you got her.
Anyway, that's the most Valentine you'll ever get out of the hop.
Steven stared into my eyes while he read that. I feel a certain type of way.
Feel changed.
I need a beer now.
Alrighty.
Let's start this party. We are starting with the Raisin Helles. It is a Helles lager. And as we mentioned earlier, we're going in the order that they did on the virtual tasting.
Yeah, I feel like we should just break that down real quick. So like what happened was we got an email from a brewery close to our house. It's New England Brewing Company.
Right.
And they were doing a virtual tasting as part of a fundraiser to raise money for a scholarship that they are creating in association with Sacred Heart University, which is a university near here. They have a brewery science program. It's the first brewing science program in Connecticut and really the first one in the region.
Brewing science program at college.
Yeah, we did it wrong.
Right? Incredible.
But Sacred Heart is creating this as part of, it's an African American Brewers Scholarship. So it's intentionally built to help diversify the industry. This is something we talk about a lot on the Hop, have since the summer. And if you've been listening, you may know that we are committed on our show to doing one Black-owned brewery every month.
Yeah.
But we've talked about the just disparity. I mean, it's something like 5% of the workforce in the beer industry is people of color. So it's
out of all the breweries, there's only like 60 that are owned.
Yeah.
You know, it's
out of like 8,000.
Yeah, it's crazy.
So NEBCO is trying to do their part to diversify along with Sacred Heart University. So that's what the fundraiser was for. We were super excited to participate in it, to be a part of it, to try these beers. So these beers were part of it. We got to sit down with, virtually with several members of the brewery, including the owner, Rob Leonard, as well as the brewing operations manager, Greg Radowich, who's kind of the sommelier. He took us through everything.
Talked about every hop that's in every beer. He knew it he should, but it was cool to see.
Director of Sales, Jamal Robinson, as well as Jeff Stopper, who's the director of the brewery science program at Sacred Heart University.
Right.
So these gents kind of walked us through it, and we are here to impart that knowledge to you.
Yeah.
So
great beer for a great cause. I mean, you don't have to tell us twice. So
yep.
And we decided to make an episode out of it. So here we go. So the Raisin Helles, it is their standard lager. It is a 5% lager. It is coming in at 18 IBUs. On the SRM chart, they had it between a 6 and an 8.
Pretty light yellow, hazy.
Maybe 5 to 6, but in that category for sure.
Definitely on the light yellow, hazy side. And this is
straw yellow.
It's a Helles lager featuring Hallertau hops. So it's a German lager brewed in the German style, meant to be really crisp, clean, bready, malty in the mouth with those Hallertau hops, which are a German noble hop. So spicy, some spicy hoppy characters to it. Not a lot of bite, more
biscuity
flavor.
and cracker and
Yeah.
bready. Beer Advocate gave it an 85. Untapped gave it a 3.79. When we first poured it, it had a little bit of a head retention, about an inch thick of the white foam. Now just about a ring, not so much. Some good lacing, a little bit of stickiness to the sides of the glass. And, we drank it once before, but I mean,
Yeah.
we got to drink it again.
Yeah, this is a weird episode
man.
because we've had all of
Yeah, you're not going to get a lot of whoa, that's what that is. I mean, we kind of already did it, but
we're here to break it down in a more in-depth fashion than we did. From the brewery, what happens when 100% floor malted Pilsner malt gets kidnapped by a couple of desperate brewers and mixed up with Hallertau hops in a fermentation tank over on the wrong side of town? Well, you'll just have to see this one to find out. NEBCO brings you a new one, Raisin Hellas, a crisp, clean, clear lager with that classic biscuity finish. This beer is rated PG.
hilarious.
Sure.
I guess, yeah. You still have to be, 21, but I don't. It just made me laugh whenever it's like it's PG. I'm thinking so it's like a movie, so like kid. No, you can't.
The nose on this.
It's very malt forward. It's got the biscuity, cracker to it, but it is a little grassy. It is kind of hoppy. It's got I wouldn't say pine so much, but it's got that, that Pilsner malt ballpark, if you will. You know what I mean?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, there's the Pilsner malt, the German floor malt, the Vienna malt. These things come through, and it's very cereal grain malt, sweet bread, honey, all of that kind of stuff. No hoppy bite, but there is a good bit of I don't know, some coriander maybe. There's a spicy.
And I think that's what you said earlier
pepper,
with the German spices. I mean, it's always going to be in there, and it's not necessarily like a tripel, but it's like the youngest brother of the tripel. You know what I mean?
And in the mouth, it's a perfect German lager, super crisp, clean, but flavorful. It's fun. Somebody last night during the tasting said it reminded them of Peroni, and I was like, not really. Peroni is a little bit more Italian. It's a little more, to me, it's just a little bit more
Peroni.
It's a little bit more watery or a little bit more on the Pilsner side than this.
I just feel like Peroni's not as craft. It's more of,
well, for sure.
It's more, a big company-esque.
I just meant flavor-wise. Somebody was saying,
totally.
If I was comparing this to big beer, I'd think of that. Is there a beer that comes to mind? And the guy, Greg, was like, I mean, no. We don't really think that way. But he said that it's really about featuring the Hallertau hops, really letting them shine, really letting them come through. And he also talked, which I thought was interesting, about a sort of a lager renaissance right now in the craft beer world. Because lagers take longer to brew. We know this.
Right.
They ferment cold. You can brew. Lagers take about 45 to 60 days or 4 to 6 weeks to an IPA taking 2 to 3. So it's just not economical to brew lagers. It's harder, and that's why you see less people doing it in the craft beer world. But he was saying how there's sort of an exciting lager renaissance happening right now. I think we've had some really good ones on the show.
Yeah, absolutely.
Definitely around Oktoberfest time.
Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's when I feel like they really shine.
Yeah.
And the other thing that's really cool about this one is Jamal, the director of sales, he said this was his go-to. When they first started talking about it, he kind of introduced it, and he was like, this is my jam. This is what I grab. So I love that because, he's, for someone who works there, it's like, this one's my favorite. Well, then I want that one.
Yeah.
I mean, you know what's up. So, but it's really good. It's got a bitterness, but it's got a clean bitterness.
Yeah.
It's just very easy and simple to drink, but it's got the flavor, and it's not going to put you on your ass, but it's not going to leave you hanging.
I think it's very sessionable, very drinkable, it's not quite the light Pilsner quality of a Bud. I think it's a little bit more flavorful than that, but it's still very sessionable, crushable, nice sort of ease into beer. If you're not into IPAs and stuff, but you want to get into the beer thing, this could get you into it because it's got it's just sweeter.
I wouldn't recommend going off of like your "it's not Bud" comment. I wouldn't recommend you play like beer pong with this. That would be a no-go.
Yeah, no. I mean, that'd be just a waste of beer.
Well, that also
Yeah.
yes, but I agree. I think it's a good intro to the lineup that we have today, or just the lineup of if you're out drinking with some friends, if you're at a brewery.
It's also got a nice moderate carbonation. It feels nice and clean in the mouth. It's crisp. Like everything in the mouth is just really clean. It's just a smooth drinker. Like there's
liquid gold, man.
Yeah, exactly. It's one of those like, it's a really nice twist on craft beer. Like when you're tired of IPAs and stuff, like reach for a lager, man. Let's bring them back, damn it.
Especially if you're a fan for the super involved beer people, if you're a fan of the Hallertau, I mean, it shines through this like no other, So, I mean, you can't go wrong with this, especially if you like lagers.
Yeah, this is straight German style. I believe it's part of their year-round situation.
I believe so, yes.
It's hard to tell with NEBCO because they have so many beers. And
they have so many beer. You look online on their website and it's just like it's just so many. It's crazy.
A lot of them are beers that have to be brewed year-round. So it's really kind of like, I mean, even they said last night, like the reason they chose these 4 beers, honestly, was production schedule. Like,
yeah,
this is what we got. So it's fresh.
Hey, listen, I was happy with it. Once we read, I mean, I think we bought the tickets before we even knew which beers we were gonna shoot, were the beers they were going to feature, and then we grabbed the 4-pack and we thought, oh yes,
perfect, yeah.
One of
nice
them I
variety.
had, the other 3 I'd only one I had only had, the other 3 I hadn't tried at all, so I was pretty pumped, and it was a good intro to beers that I hadn't tried from NEBCO.
NEBCO is a fascinating company. They've been around since, they were founded in 2001. Kind of. Rob Leonard, I mentioned him. We'll talk about him a little bit, but Rob Leonard is the owner, and he was working at another brewery called New England Brewing, which was in South Norwalk, Connecticut, sort of southern, if you know Connecticut at all. And he purchased the name from them in 2001, took over the brewery, and he opened his original location, and it was kind of a grind and a struggle for like 10 years. Like if you hear him tell the story, it was anything but sort of easygoing,
Yeah, he talked about that a lot. It was great to get his perspective on that, but he talked a lot about that at the tasting.
And they've since moved. After a while, a couple of SKUs caught on, and they moved across the street to their current location, which is on Amity Street over in Woodbridge. But it was, he's just grinding it out and never quit for like 10 years, and they're really passionate about what they do. So now New England Brewing Company, I mean, you can find their beers all over Connecticut on tap.
Oh, yeah.
Especially big ones like Sea Hag. But if you go to the brewery, you can get all kinds of stuff. And so for the real like craft beer drinkers in Connecticut, this is one that really stands out and has stood out for a very long time.
Yeah, and the facility, you can't miss it. When you're in Woodbridge, and when you turn into the parking lot, it's got that industrial vibe to it. It's kind of like in the back of the parking lot, and you just roll in, and it's got the food truck outside, and that dope car. It's like they have like their own NEBCO car.
Yeah, they have this like, it's like, I don't even know what kind, it's like a Ford or something. Like, I don't know what
it's covered in snow, but
Classic
every time
car.
we see it, we're like, God, we want to like ride in that. But I mean, like what Steven said, you can get the beers like anywhere. And everyone knows about the Sea Hag. The Sea Hag, they said last night, covers 80% of sales.
80% of their production or something like that. Yeah, it's
not
crazy.
bad.
Yeah. That's what I mean. That's all over the place. But then if you go into the brewery, it's like, first of all, pre-COVID, like very dog friendly, board games, like, and it's the kind of place too, when you walk in, like every time I walk in there, I just smell brewing happening. The sweetness of hops. It's just so it's
they're working.
I mean, you smell that in most breweries you go into, but when you walk in that place, you're like, it hits you in the face, and it's like, oh,
there's being magic
bathe
made.
Me in this.
Oh, can I get some of that to go? It's like, yeah, you got to pay for it.
Yeah, I can.
And then one other thing I really wanted to touch on quickly about Rob. According to him, at the time of the purchase of his canning system, because he was originally canning by hand. And then he spent $10,000 on a canning machine and was continuing to do it by hand. According to him, at the time of the purchase of the machine, he was the third person in the country to do beer in cans. That's when it started to get like really, really popular.
Yeah, I mean, since you brought it up, I mean, I think that's definitely worth highlighting is like NEBCO led the chart. I mean, so he, like you said, he spent $10,000 on this canning machine because he was struggling and grinding out. He was canning by hand.
Yeah.
And he was putting craft beer in can. Now we as craft beer drinkers, like cans are just better for beer in general than bottles. But at the time, it just wasn't, it was sort of like cans are like cheap. Like that's like what Budweiser and Coors come in.
Yeah.
That's not for
no one really knew the significance.
So Rob started doing it, and it just sort of, I mean, it's just funny to see how now it's like the thing, but that wasn't really their intention. And actually, let's hear Rob tell that story because we did poach a little clip from last night. So let's hear Rob talk about his experience
canning, putting the beer in cans. If I could tell it, I would sound like a genius. Like, oh, I knew this was the future. Everyone's there's conscious about the environment, and aluminum can be recycled, and it's better for the beer. It was out of necessity. I couldn't afford to bottle beer. I couldn't do it. The machines are too expensive. And I happened to get an email from a company like, we have this hand canning machine. You can can your beer, and it was $10,000. I could afford it. So I just started doing it that way. And I was like the third in the country to do craft beer in cans. People thought I was insane. And then slowly, as luck would have it, other people started doing it.
It's just funny because it's like, if like he says, like if you ask him now, it's like, oh yeah, I saw the trend coming. But at the time, it's like, no, it was really necessity. It was just cheaper.
You know, he was like, I got to get this beer out. So what can we work with? I mean, that's getting your hands dirty and making lemonade, you know, and he made it happen. So shout out to him. Shout out to Rob. He's the man.
So we have another beer here.
Yes, indeedy.
And why don't you tell the people what we're moving on to while I get it?
The ever so popular and hilarious Fuzzy Baby Ducks IPA. This is one of their more popular beers, and yes, 50% of the reason why it is so popular is because of the name. Oh, thank you, Sue, so much.
Did you say Sue?
I was gonna say sir.
I am not your mother.
I was gonna say sir and so much at the same time, so I was like, sir. One of their more popular ones. It is a 6.2% ABV, 60 IBUs. On the SRM chart, we're looking between like a 13 and a 15. It's super dark orange juice, very cloudy.
Yep, much hazier than the last one.
Hard to see through.
Darker, like you said, sort of orange. 13 might be a little much for me. I might put it like 10, 11, 12 myself.
Depending on the light and whatnot.
Yeah, and the chart.
So Untapped gave it a 4.29, and Beer Advocate gave it a 99.
Bang! Exclamation point!
Well done.
They really like that beer. I think this is the first beer we've had that's 99. We've had a lot that have been 98.
Yeah, this is what I'm talking about, man. NEBCO with the craft beer drinkers, like, this is the thing. Fuzzy Baby Ducks, they talked about it last night. Greg was even saying, like, before he worked at NEBCO, he used to love Baby Ducks, and then like the first time they canned it or something, he said they were, I mean, literally, like, there was lines. It's one of those heady topper situations.
Yeah.
Lines around the block, you know, and there were literally, like, they were canning it on the line, putting it in cans in 4-packs and handing it to people. Like, it was coming off and going off the shelves.
Greg was saying he would get out of his car because he showed up to work and people thought he was like starting the line.
Yeah.
And so he was like, no, we're not open yet. Go back in your cars. Like, just wait. But yeah, I mean, people would show up like an hour early before the brewery opened to get in line for this beer.
This beer is actually... I love it, and I love it because it features Citra.
It's
and
only Citra.
I've mentioned on the hop several times how I'm kind of tired of Citra, but here's the beautiful thing. This is Citra without, a lot of times when you see Citra, it's mixed with Mosaic Simcoe, and that combination works really well together, but it gets a little worn out. But this one is more balanced. And it does bring the Citra hop to life in a whole new way that makes you really appreciate it. I think it's a really beautiful celebration of the hop.
Yeah,
so
it is really, really incredible. I mean, this is this is like the goat of this company in a way. And before they called it Fuzzy Baby Ducks, they called it something else.
It was like fluffy dogs or something.
It was something like that, and it started off as like a joke, and then they were like, "How funny would it be if we made people like say like, can I get a 6-pack of Fuzzy Baby Ducks?" And people were like, "I don't care what it's called, it's incredible."
No, that literally was it. They were like, "It'd be hilarious if people said this. Let's name it that," and then people
were like, "Okay, sure."
So. From the brewery on this one, a member of our single hopped beer club, this IPA is both brewed and dry hopped with nothing but Citra hops. That's it. All Citra, all day.
Mm-hmm.
And that's what gives you the big mango, papaya, and citrus taste that makes tongues celebrate and lines of beer fans form up just to sample this beauty. And it had a nice little bit of white foam head.
Yeah.
It retained fairly well. It's collapsed since, as you can see on the camera. But on the nose, I mean,
it's just, it's like, it's almost hard to describe in a way. Like it is and it isn't, but it's got the grassy, hoppy notes, but they're sweet. It smells like honey. It smells like a treat. It smells like what you would, like a cheat meal, like on your diet. You know what I mean? Like it's Friday night, I get to cheat and eat whatever I want. It's like that.
Sure.
In the form of a beer.
I've never been on a diet, so I don't know what that means, but it's mango to me.
Yes.
I mean, the citrus is mango forward. So Citra hops, I found this really interesting just to learn about them because you do experience them a lot, but the hop is so popular. It really gained popularity. It was in some prevalent beers before it had a name, but it really gained popularity, and I did not know this, when Sierra Nevada used it as their hop, their primary hop in their first iteration of Torpedo, which is wild to me. It's like, oh, now I get it.
Yeah.
And it took off from there. But Citra hops have myrcene oil in them, or it's like a high myrcene content.
Yeah, they did mention a lot about that, about how the oil like kind of like mixes in with everything.
But the oil is the same oil that's in mangoes and tangerines, and that's why when you have a Citra beer, as opposed to like Mosaic, it's more pineapple. It's more something a little bit, it's just different flavor. This is mango, which is my favorite of all citrus.
There you go.
It's got a bitterness like behind it, and then so on the nose, that really comes through.
Yeah, it's I say we just get into it.
Let's do it.
Fuzzy Baby Ducks are incredible. For those on camera, I mean, look at this. Look at this adorable little can. I mean, how awesome is that?
It's like Care Bears, like the Rainbow Highway from Mario Kart or something.
Rainbow Road, literally.
So all those aromatics are up front. All the citrus is up front. But there's a good bit of bite onto this, a surprising amount of bite. If you think you're drinking a juicy, hazy New England IPA, technically you are. But the amount of pine, there's a good bit of pine in there. There's a good bit of pine resin in there, a good bite. And then it is balanced by some breadiness, which is what I love. Mm-hmm. It's really well balanced. It's on an even keel. It's not a hop bomb.
No, not at all. But it gives you, it fills that satisfaction of the bite that you want.
Yeah. IBUs are at 60. So this is like, 6% ABV, 60 IBUs. That's pretty standard. You know what I mean? It's not going to kill you with bitterness. But the aromatics are first. The citrus is first. Then there's a bit of bite in your palate, but it's just like, it finishes really nice and smooth. I think it's pretty easy drinking. I don't know if it's crushable. I don't think it's that, but it's a drinkable, straightforward IPA because they do such a great job of balancing it out, which I think is impressive.
I just love how sweet it is. I love how, as you mentioned, easy drinking. It's very flavorful and it doesn't skimp on anything. It's balanced really well. I feel like it's balanced more toward flavor and hop rather than like malt backbone or like aromas or anything like that. But I mean, it really is enjoyable. And I mean, I could definitely have 2 or 3 of these in a night and feel great about it.
And feel perfect.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
it's not going to fill you up too much.
It's not a session. It's not like I need something light. It's not that. It's solid. It's sturdy.
Yeah.
but it's also not gonna blow you away. I think it's delicious.
And it's just adorable. Fuzzy baby ducks.
Fuzzy baby ducks. I hate birds and ducks, as has been mentioned on the show
No,
before.
they're not cute little ones like this.
I would if they were in my hand.
A little, you're talking about a little duck. You wouldn't if they like.
I don't understand the way they move, and
They're adorable. Steven, get with it. Jeez.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit more about just the brewery in general. We mentioned a little bit of how they started, but so now they're over there on Amity Street. They're brewing Sea Hag and G-Bot are their two biggest beers, I think.
Oh yeah.
And G-Bot's next, so we'll get into it. Those beers killed the original flagship of Atlantic Amber, and I just want to say we witnessed this. They had a full funeral for it. They had a priest. They had a keg on a table. They had pictures. It was
kind of wild. I wish they had the video of that. They just had photos, but I mean, at one point we kind of looked at each other like, oh, they're really okay. No, I get it.
They're a brewery with a real sense of humor. I think that comes across in the names, in the descriptions that we're reading, in everything they do. It's really like, this is a brewery with a lot of they have fun.
They were having a great time. I mean, while the tasting was happening, and we even got a little video of a little walking virtual tour of the brewery of how they put the beer in the cans, and the most impressive part was human hands don't touch the beer until they're moving them off the tray and into the facility. I mean, they don't touch it at all. It's just fast-paced, fluid motion of getting the beer into the can, and it was like a really cool experience.
Yeah, and then these cans are the beautiful creation of Craig Gilbert, he's kind of the art guy.
Yeah.
The genius, and what they describe on their website as the keeper of the scroll. I don't know what that means.
I want that on a t-shirt.
Well, that's his job. So he's in charge of the artworks and the name. He comes up with a lot of them. He draws them, and then they go through a process to get like the
gets them ready for print.
Yeah.
Another awesome thing we learned is NEBCO is coming out with a collaboration soon with Rhythm Brewing.
Yes.
Our girl Elisa Bowens Mercado, we featured Rhythm many moons ago.
Feels like forever.
Yeah. But we love it when Connecticut breweries, team up in a way and make collaborations. I mean, especially with
and this is part of the whole thing. So they're doing what happened was this summer they created what they called their equality committee at NEBCO. And they have three goals. They want to diversify the beer industry, they want to bring awareness to racial injustice, and they want to help local Black communities. So the scholarship is one thing that this committee is doing.
Right.
Another thing is they have an equality IPA series that they're brewing every 1 to 2 months. They brew it on their 3.5 barrel pilot system. And all of the proceeds from that go to the committee. They also did a Black is Beautiful, and all the proceeds of that went to the scholarship. But so what Rhythm is collabing with them on is their next equality IPA.
Right. Yeah. And I can't wait to get my hands on that because, we saw from the Black is Beautiful, everyone's got their own spin on stuff. And so I'd love to, get our own spin on this. But yeah, I mean, we can talk about it all night, but the cause and the beer, I mean, it's really awesome to see. We're all about that. So
yeah, this fits right into our wheelhouse. That's why they got wedged into our schedule.
Yeah, they bumped a few people, but you know what? We'll make room. I mean, I think we got to keep it moving, right?
Yes, we do.
It's time to get a little dangerous.
Let's go big.
Let's go
beer
big.
Number trace. So for number 3, we have the G-Bot.
The G-Bot. So
this one is double IPA. I mentioned it before. It's one of their most popular beers.
Yes.
It's a double. It's a West Coaster, which makes me very excited. It comes in at 8.5% ABV, 85 IBUs. Beer Advocate has it at 98, and Untapped has it at 4.31, which is impressive. That's even higher than the Fuzzy Babies.
Yeah.
that's great. So, and this one features a whole slew of hops, which includes, if I can find it, Columbus, Citra, Simcoe, and Mosaic. There's that Citrus, Simcoe, Mosaic.
It's always
combo.
a good combo when you have those, So,
But the
I'm very
Columbus
excited.
are leading the charge, and this is more West Coasty.
Yeah,
so
we got like a dark orangey type of color. The website gave it an 18 to 19 SRM. I would say yes, and maybe like a 17, 16-ish, depending on the light. But it's very dark orange, cloudy, not hazy. Well, maybe a little hazy.
I agree. I would put it at 16. It's more dark amber than it is. Like it's not very dark, but definitely
good stickiness. Definitely
sticky. Good bit of white foam, and it's cloudy. I wouldn't call it hazy. Like it's more.
Yeah.
It's more. It's a West Coaster, so it's definitely not a clear IPA, but it's not a juicy, hazy situation.
Pinkies out.
So from the brewery on this one, this sought-after double IPA, DIPA, packs in a whole mess of hops in order to churn out a bombastic citrus taste full of orange peel, mildly dank whiffs of pine, and a deceptively easy-flowing flavor. There's just enough haze in this one to satisfy the hops heads, while it's not too bitter or crazy for first-timers to enjoy this fruity brew.
I agree. Just based off of what we had last night, I think that's a perfect description. It can, if you're a hophead like us, it'll fit that bill for you. But if you're just kind of just getting into the beer game, you don't really know what you want, it's not going to, make your lips pucker or anything like that. Like, I think you'll enjoy the flavors that come forward on it.
Yeah, I think there's a good bit of citrus on the nose, and this is where that Mosaic starts to shine. You definitely get some pineapple. You definitely get some musk melon or melon other flavors on top of the mango and papaya of the earlier one. What I love about this though is that there's a bitterness and there's like a bubblegum flavor to this.
Yeah, I'm smelling that too.
That's the secret. That's the hidden gem.
I was smelling it and I was like, maybe like banana, but not really. I don't really know.
Kind of. It's that. Like,
but I think it's more bubblegum than banana. But it's in there.
It's a sweetness. It's a sweet sort of citrus mixing with pine resin thing on the nose, and right away, I mean, to me, that says, okay, it's going to be hoppy and it's going to be boozy.
Yeah, I want to wear this as cologne.
Okay.
I want to do it.
Tell me how that works with the ladies.
I don't know. Yeah, I'll report back to you.
All right. Well,
here
cheers.
we are to a DIPA.
A DIPA.
Sounds like a Brooklyn guy saying diaper. Yeah, get the DIPA.
Ew, you just ruined this beer.
You're welcome. Now what's it taste like?
Oh my God.
Ew.
Sorry, guys.
Okay. It tastes like a diaper.
No, it doesn't. It's very smooth. It's very flavorful. It's got a lot of the nose in on the taste. Orange peel, that pininess, that fruitiness is definitely forward. I feel like I'm not getting as much bite as I originally thought I was, or thought I did the other day.
Yeah. You know what I loved yesterday is Greg from the brewery talked about what he termed the IBU wars of the 90s.
Yeah.
He was saying, cool. People were making beers that were bitier and bitier and bitier with IBUs going up into the 100s, 120s, which, by the way...
Bang! Exclamation point!
Back. Let's do it again. Fuck yeah.
We would love that. I mean, it would be an evening to get through, but we would be all for that.
I'm all about it. But
absolutely.
This is considered an exception to that because it's 85 IBUs, so it's got a bite.
Oh yeah.
But it's got a balance. I mean,
it's easy to drink. I feel like for an 8.5%, you get that taste and you think like, oh yeah, it's definitely there. And this, it's more of like, oh yeah, it's there, but it doesn't.
Yeah,
it's pretty simple. It's pretty
sneaky.
easy. Yeah, I would agree.
It's like you said, all the citrus comes through, the orange peel, the fruitiness, the fruity flavors, and the bubblegum kind of comes through.
Yeah,
that sweetness.
So wild.
A lot of pine resin, a lot of bite, earthy hoppiness. But like I said, there's a malty backbone there. I don't know that I taste malt or bread or cereal or anything like that, but there's a balance to this that evens it out, which I think is really nice.
Yeah, and I love how the lingering bitterness is. It's not just a regular bitterness. It's fruity bitterness. It's flavorful. It's not gonna. You're not gonna taste it and go, oh yeah, it's bitter. You're gonna taste it and go, ooh, more flavor. Extended flavor, if you will. You know what I mean?
It is utterly delicious. I mean, you understand why this is one that people seek out, because people love hops. Craft beer drinkers love a good hoppy, bitey beer, and this one is a double, but it's a sneaky double, and it's good.
People love a bitey beer. Not a mighty beer, a bitey beer.
Spidey sense. Bitey beer.
Literally.
So, New England Brewing Company, I actually want to play this clip from Rob, because I think that it encapsulates sort of who they are. When you look into New England Brewing Company, I mean, the word that keeps coming up on their website and when you listen to them talk is passion. They really have a passion for what they do. So I love this quote, what he said last night, and I think it applies to this brewery and to all of life.
But there's another one that my mom always told me, like, if you believe in something, keep at it and it's going to happen. And when you're in it and it's not working and you're struggling, you keep at it. Just keep at it. I didn't quit. And there's so many times other people wanted to throw in the towel for me. And like, dude, you got to, I'm like, no, I kept at it. So just please keep at it as best you can. And if it's your dream, it's your passion, it'll work.
That is direct from Rob Leonard, founder and owner of New England Brewing Company, and the mastermind behind a lot of these delicious beers we're drinking now. And I think it's just like, that's NEBCO.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? They grinded it out. They ground it out.
Sure.
They churned it out.
There we go.
They did the thing for years. And like I said, for like 10 years, it wasn't working for him. And he stuck with it. He didn't quit. He did the work. And the benefits now for us as beer drinkers is this amazing place that is churning out these just such a variety of great beers. So
it also is very reassuring just in life and as people to hear his story and to hear about like how dirty he got his hands with, the canning process and spending money and doing only what he could. I mean, he did the dirty work. He scrubbed and, as you said, churned his way through, and he got this brewery on its feet and moved it along to the powerhouse that it is today. And he said yesterday, we will never move again. We found our spot. We're there for life, and they're moving again. And I can only assume it's going to be a much bigger and better place because of the volume and because of how well they're doing. And it just goes to show you that, hard work does pay off, and it sucks. It's grueling and it's soul sucking. But I mean, if you're passionate about something, you do it, which is, just us as people. I mean, we love to hear stories like that.
Yeah, and I think you buried the lead there, which is they are moving. That's big news if you're a NEBCO fan. If you're someone who's in Connecticut, that is pretty big news, and it's sleepy news.
They did say that they'd be close by, though, so don't worry.
They're not far.
They're not going to like Rhode Island. Like
they've just outgrown their spot.
Yeah. I come to Hamden or New Haven.
So we have one more to crush, and it's another big one.
This one's fun just because of the can artwork, but we've got an Imperial Stout. It is called Coffee Breath. It is an 8.4 stout made with coffee, 40 IBUs on the SRM chart. I mean, as you can see online, it's pretty jet black. It's definitely a solid 40, maybe a 39.5.
I would just
call it 40. Yeah. Beer Advocate gave this a 94. Untapped gave it a 4.21. And I really love this description from the brewery. This Imperial Coffee Oat Milk Stout is dang huge in name, taste, as well as ingredients. There's 5 different roasts of malt in here, along with a smattering of roasted barley, a goodly bunch of oats, a pinch of lactose sugar for a rich and creamy mouthfeel, and big ol' heap and brew of Dominican and Sumatran coffee from our Java pals over at One World Roasters. Imagine a fudgy chocolate brownie dipped in a smooth, locally roasted cup of joe.
Yeah, that's what they did.
I feel like I need a moment. Like, how can you not want that?
So they there's a bunch of different ways to add coffee to a beer, and I think it was interesting listening to Greg talk about this yesterday. They add. So they have this like you said, Dominican and Sumatran coffee from One World Roasters out of East Haven. By the way, they deliver. So if you like your coffee delivered and you're in Connecticut, there you go. But they take that coffee and they add the coffee beans to the fully fermented beer at about 50 degrees. So this beer is steeping in the coffee, much the way coffee steeps in coffee beans, so it's more like a cold brew, and that's why I think the flavor of the beer is more cold brew than if you just added like brewed coffee into the mix or something of that nature, which I think is important, and it's an interesting distinction that we got out of doing this thing last night.
Sumatran.
I would say Sumatran is Sumatra coffee beans.
I apologize. I don't know. But yeah, I mean, even off of the smell, I mean, it is cold brew, but it's also just jet black hot coffee. Not hot, obviously, but it's got that smell to just roasted, hard, bold coffee.
It's got, first of all, the lacing on it is beautiful. I mean, if you're on YouTube, take a look at that and just look at how this sticks to the side of the glass. Tan head, decent retention, and when you put your nose to it, the coffee is there, like you said. Obviously, iced coffee comes through hard.
It smells like a coffee shop.
Yeah. Exactly what I said last week about the other ones. Like when you walk into that coffee bean at the mall.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah,
coffee,
and you're like, oh, we're on the first floor. And I know coffee's on the second floor. Let's take the escalator. There's
a nuttiness to it. The roasted malt comes through. The chocolate comes through for sure. And like you said, this is 8.4%. This is an Imperial Stout. You know, it's boozy. It's big. It's heavy.
Made with Columbus and Cascade hops.
Yes,
which I think is, again, just so awesome.
However much those come through.
Yeah, I would probably say not much, but just so you know, you hit the head right over. I've been drinking. You hit the head right on the top. Okay, I've been drinking.
No, keep
you
going.
made a good point by saying
it's try it a third time.
You hit the nail on the head.
There we go.
There it is. Yikes! You hit the nail on the head when you don't play that. We have 4 beers. What do you want me to do? Well, we haven't tried this one yet. When you said it's very nutty, I'm getting like a walnut roasted nut type of thing to it.
Yeah. There's definitely like a nuttiness, a roasted malt quality to it. It's not all chocolate and coffee. There's a bite, an earthiness,
I'm so embarrassed.
A nuttiness to it. All right, let's drink the beer.
Here we go. Cheers, bud. Last one. Yeah, man. Just New York City coffee shop.
This is so sweet and so good.
I know.
And I think that the oat part of oat milk stout is really important. The oats in the mash, and the lactose that's in here too.
Yeah.
Those two things really add a sweetness and a creaminess and a softness to the mouthfeel that make it's sort of slick and full body. It really makes it creamy. It's like drinking half and half or something. It's so creamy
from the bottle. No, I can say this about all 4 beers we've drank tonight. Like they're all pretty smooth going down, and this one especially. I mean, you smell this and you smell that strong coffee, and you assume that like it might be a little hard going down or more bitter than you want it to be, but not really. It's got a lot of flavor, but it's not hard to drink at all.
I think it's so good. I think this is almost an underrated one for them.
I love the lactose part of it too, and I know we can talk about what they have on tap in a little bit, but I know they have I think 1 or 2 variations of this. If it's
they have a lot of Imperial Stouts, and I think that this one
I think this is a mix on another one, or I'm not exactly sure. I'll have to take a look, but.
I just want to. We do have to move on, but I just want to real quick touch on the scholarship that this is benefiting. So Sacred Heart University is a university here in Connecticut. They have, as I mentioned, it's the first brewery science program in the state and really the region. It's a $15,000 program. It's 11 months. It's 22 credits. It's intended to be sort of a hybrid program. So the idea is if you have like a 9 to 5, you can do this.
Yeah, you can take night classes.
Yeah, it's 3 semesters. The last semester is an internship, so you'll work with a brewery in the area. Plenty of the breweries in the area partner with them, and they work a lot with Two Roads. So go back and listen to our Two Roads, our Area 2 episodes. We are big fans of Two Roads. They're huge in Connecticut. But they do a lot of work with them. They actually have a classroom at Area 2 where they get to work and brew at Two Roads. So that's the program. And then, as we mentioned, this specific scholarship is coming out of this equality committee, and it's an African American Brewers Scholarship with the idea of helping to, this program is a big part of the pipeline in terms of people who come out of this program work in the brewing industry. So they're trying to do their part to contribute at that level to getting, giving opportunity for people of color to
diversifying the
work
industry,
in the industry. Exactly.
And as we mentioned at the beginning of this episode, it's lacking a little bit, and we would love to see that pick up. We would love to see more than 60 breweries.
It's lacking a lot of bit, and I think that it's a big part of our show, and that's funny to say. It's 2 white guys sitting on the mic drinking beer.
Yeah.
But it's beer to me. Is an art, and I think nothing tells that story more clearly than something like we did last night, and listening to these people talk and listening to Rob talk about passion. Beer is an art, and I want diversity in my art. I want diversity in the films I watch, the theater I go to see, the paintings I'm looking at, the poetry I'm listening to, the music I'm listening to, and the beer I'm drinking, and the food I'm eating. Like, that's a big part of this. I think it was Jamal who even said last night, like, beer isn't really a racial thing. It's like, it's good food, good beer, good wine. Like, is it bitter,
he
is
did
it
mention
not?
that. Yeah.
But I can say, I think with pretty good certainty that the Black-owned breweries we've gone out of our way to seek out for this show are my favorite breweries we've done.
Yeah, I mean, not only do we get to learn so much and we get to experience great beer, but I mean, they're doing things that other breweries aren't, and it has nothing to do with what their racial identity is. I mean, it has everything to do with their culture and their history, and that's what we love to see, and we love to not only give shout outs to that, but to celebrate that.
And to just be a patron.
Yeah, exactly.
Those are the breweries where we get to be there, talk to the owners. Those are the breweries where we get to have meaningful conversations, and it's because,
especially like, we love the smaller breweries. We give them a voice if they don't really have. Well, I mean,
we try.
We try. But
so,
I mean, it's a great scholarship, and we love the fact Brew with the Shoe. I mean, we loved this and hearing about it. Thank you for forwarding me that email.
Yeah,
because we grabbed our tickets right away, and they sold out, and we knew they would. We knew immediately.
But
like,
we were there.
We were talking about it. And we were like, so if we're gonna do this, we got to do this right now because they will sell out, and they absolutely did.
So just to wrap up NEBCO, I mean, what they have on tap currently at the brewery, we could go into all the beers they've ever had. That would be a big task. But they have a lot of Imperial Stouts on tap right now. The Coffee Breath is one. They have the David Lee Roth, which I love. It's called David Lee Roth. Like, that's one word. David Lee Roth. They have Imperial Stout Trooper, which they do a whole bunch of variations of. They have a peanut butter fudge version.
Woo!
Oh my God.
Ew.
Yay!
But they also have a barrel-aged one.
He won't play the...
They also have a barrel-aged one.
Exclamation point!
He wouldn't play the yay drop, so I just did it.
Hell no.
They've got a baby bot as opposed to the G bot, which is just a classic IPA. I mean, they've got the Sea Hag. Well, like what we said, 80% of their sales, that's their go-to. They've got IPAs for days.
They have one called Attempted Red Rum. It's a barley wine. I'm tempted to walk off the set right now and go get it.
Let's order it.
It's delicious.
Going off of what I said earlier about the spin off of the coffee one, they've got one. It's called Cool Beans Coffee Stout.
I've actually had that. That is
yeah.
It's not Imperial. But it's everything this is with less booziness.
Right. I'm sure it's incredible.
Absolutely delicious.
Tracksuit IPA. Okay.
Yeah. So they've got plenty to choose from, and New England Brewing, man. I mean,
coconut porter.
If you know Connecticut beer, you know NEBCO.
Yeah.
If you don't know Connecticut beer, you should get your hands on some NEBCO, because The Sea Hag is their IPA. That's 80% of their business. That's what you're going to find on tap. But if you go into that tap room, you're going to find
everything. You can get
all kinds of stuff.
All 4 of these. So get on it, do it up. And we should go. Before we go, we have some good news. Staying in Connecticut with Stratford, there was a theater, the Stratford Shakespeare Theater, where likes of Christopher Walken used to perform at, and many other names whose names I just can't remember at this time. But it burned down about 1.5 years ago, 2 years ago.
Yeah. So for context, I mean, this theater, Gabe and I have performed there outside. This theater was a hidden gem.
We did monologues on the stage.
Yeah. This theater was a hidden gem. It's a place that back in its heyday, people used to come from far and wide. Actors used to come from New York because Stratford, Connecticut is just a short train ride away, and come do Shakespeare, see theater, see amazing theater, professional theater. And it was just mothballed, and nothing was happening with it. It was a sin.
Yeah.
And the history there, to walk on those grounds, to do the shows we did on the grounds,
to see the photos and posters and the dressing rooms and everything like that, and to be on the grounds and to be in that space. I mean, it just felt I'm gonna say it felt magical in a way, just being there and doing shows and stuff.
And it's on the river in Stratford, and it burned down last year, and it was so tragic for us. But this may not be news, but it's news to us today. We just found out. So this is our fun topic. Is that they are bringing it back to life, and they're going to recreate the 1614 Globe. And one of our good friends, Tom Evans, is on the board of this and really spearheaded this. So
we love you, Tom.
Shout out to these guys for being real superheroes. But they're going to do a recreation of the 1614 Globe. They've got a board of directors, including our good friend and mentor and captain and Ellen Lieberman.
She directed us a few times, and she is, if anyone can handle this project, it's her and Tom. I mean, they will work so well together.
Jim Warren is the artistic director, who's he's a veteran Shakespeare guy who worked at the ASC forever until he retired in 2017, and now he's the artistic director with Tom as the executive director. This is going to be amazing, and they have a vision for a recreation of the Globe in Stratford, Connecticut, a Stratford Playhouse, a repertory theater company doing shows all over the place, really recreating.
And it's perfect timing because obviously Rona is still a thing, but I mean, hopefully once it we get back to normal, because we will get back to normal. Once we get there, I mean, this can be a place where actors can go and we can celebrate and we can watch Shakespeare and we can enjoy, it's not just for shows, it's for music events, and it's an event space, and it can be for so much more, and it can get back to what it was. And for our, we're not from Stratford, but it's not far away from us. And to be able to go back there is such a huge thing for us. And we're really excited about this.
This is going to take a lot of money and a lot of funds. And if you want to read about the project, it's AmericanGlobeCenter.org. The goal is, as they state, the former grounds of the American Shakespeare Festival Theater will soon house the world's only historically accurate recreation of Shakespeare's 1614 Globe Theater as part of the American Globe Center, which also includes the Stratford Playhouse, our modern performing arts and education center, and multifunction event space. If you are interested, I highly encourage you to go there and check it out. And perhaps most importantly, contribute if you can, because it's going to need support of the community, of arts patrons, of everyone.
Especially all you people in Connecticut. I mean, if you know Stratford, you know about this place, and you know the history and the legacy and the magic, that's behind it. So we all got to work together. We got to bring this place back because it houses so many great memories.
So go to the website, check it out, check out the models of what they want to do, and click there and donate to their GoFundMe if you're interested. We've never asked for money as a show for the Hop, but we're asking for money for someone else who doesn't even know we're doing this. But
it's fine. It's for a good cause.
This matters more.
I mean, from a somewhat of a selfish standpoint, I'll say it. I mean, maybe once things open, we'll be back performing there,
God willing.
Please get me something. But it's really the title of this episode should just be Great Causes.
Yeah.
Because that's what
Great
we're all
causes
about
in
here.
Connecticut.
Yeah, honestly.
All right, everybody. Thank you for joining us for another round, an unexpected round, a Connecticut round. We'll be back next week. This is our 60th episode. We're moving. We're over the hill and then some. So we're gonna
Through
keep
the
moving.
woods to grandmother's house we go.
And we'll be back next week for another exciting round. Until then, stay safe, stay classy, stay healthy, and drink great beer.
Say something nice. Love each other. Contribute. We love you guys. Thanks.
Cheers.